So in an 8-week course, 16 hours, by the end of the 4th session, we spend half our time just on characters. Then these people start to fight for the story. You don't have one wild maverick character running off with it, because these other characters are now fully formed, and they have strength, and they have power, you know, and they have needs, and they have demands. And so this is where and you know them really well by this point. You know them from the inside out. And they're still full of surprises, you know. But then the story starts to emerge: the who, what, where, and when. And you've been thinking about this all along. And at this time, you begin to get a sense of the tone of the piece, you know, the feel of it, its genre, its whether it's dark or light. People often start off thinking they're writing a tragedy and end up with a comedy, or vice versa, or a mix, you know. And then you start working on the story. E.M. Forster says it best. He says, "The king died, the queen died is the story. The king died, the queen died of grief is the plot." So essentially what you get when you talk about a story, the story is a story is a form of narrative, really, that you can tell a story in 50 words. You can give a sense of the entire thing. It's like a gestalt of the whole piece, you know. And the story is concerned with who, what, where, and when. The plot is concerned, as in the E.M. Forster model, with how things happen and why they happened. So the plot is a much more intricate kind of document. A story is full of facts, generally, you might say. You know, it's a kind of a very factual narrative structure. But a plot is a very thoughtful force, and it is a force. It's one idea after another, you know. It's one big idea that touches another, that touches another. And every idea in the plot has consequences, and those consequences create other incidents, and those incidents cause other consequences. So it's that kind of rolling forward of a plot, which is much different than a story. Because a story is just, very factual. It's essentially facts lined up in an interesting row. But a plot is a real dynamic force that regardless of whether you're working in fiction, prose fiction, or drama, it's complicating the issue. It's raising the stakes. It's tightening the screws on the people, and it's essentially engaging the reader or the audience to such a degree that in a successful novel, you're turning pages, or in the theater, you're sitting forward, If your audience is sitting like this, you're in trouble, in the theater. If they're sort of, moving toward you, toward what you're putting on the stage, then you're doing your job.